In the heart of the Arizona desert, where the sun scorched the earth and the wind whispered secrets through the cacti, stood a small, weathered cabin. It was home to Eleanor Grayson, a reclusive woman in her 60s who had lived alone for over a decade. Her nearest neighbors were miles away, and the closest town, Doorstep, was a 2-hour drive across rugged terrain. Eleanor preferred it that way. After a life filled with loss, her husband gone to illness, her daughter estranged, if she had chosen solitude, finding peace in the quiet hum of the desert. Her days were simple, tending a small garden of resilient succulents, reading tattered paperbacks, and listening to the crackle of an old radio. The cabin, though modest, was her sanctuary, its wooden walls etched with the marks of time. She had no phone, no internet, just the vast expanse of the desert and her thoughts. Visitors were rare, and those who stumbled upon her home were usually lost hikers or curious travelers, quickly sent on their way with a stern word and a wave of her hand. But one stormy evening, as the sky churned with dark clouds and thunder rumbled like an ancient drum, everything changed. It was late, the kind of night where the desert seemed alive with unseen forces. Eleanor was sipping tea by her fireplace when a heavy knock shook the door. Startled, she set her mug down and approached cautiously, her hand resting on the old hunting rifle she kept by the entrance. She wasn't afraid, but she was worried strangers in the desert could mean trouble. "Who's there?" she called, her voice steady despite the unease creeping up her spine. A deep, gravelly voice answered, "We seek shelter, ma'am. The storm is fierce, and we are weary travelers." Eleanor hesitated. The voice carried a weight, a resonance that felt both ancient and commanding. She cracked the door open, peering into the darkness. Lightning flashed, illuminating 3 towering figures standing on her porch. They were enormous, each at least 7 feet tall, their broad shoulders wrapped in tattered cloaks that glistened with rain. Their faces were weathered, lined with deep creases, and their eyes gleamed with a quiet intensity. They wore traditional Apache attire, beaded vests, leather boots, and headbands adorned with feathers, but their clothing seemed worn, as if from another era. "Who are you?" Eleanor asked, gripping the rifle tighter. The tallest of the 3, a man with silver hair braided down his back, stepped forward. "I am Taza, and these are my brothers, Kale and Node. We are Apache, descendants of the Old Ones. The storm has driven us from our path, and we ask only for a night's refuge." Eleanor's eyes narrowed. She knew of the Apache people, their history rooted in this land, their resilience legendary. But these men were different, larger than life, almost otherworldly. Yet, there was a sincerity in Taza's voice, a plea that softened her guard. Against her better judgment, she stepped aside. "Come in," she said, "but don't expect a feast. I live simply." The 3 men ducked through the doorway, their presence filling the small cabin. They moved with a grace that belied their size, settling near the fire without a word. Eleanor watched them closely, noting the way they carried themselves, proud but burdened, as if they bore the weight of centuries. She offered them blankets and a pot of stew, which they accepted with quiet gratitude. As the storm raged outside, Taza began to speak. "We are not ordinary travelers," he said, his voice low and deliberate. "We are the last of the old giants, a lineage of Apache warriors chosen by the spirits to guard sacred knowledge. For generations, we have wandered, protecting secrets the world has forgotten." Eleanor raised an eyebrow, skeptical but intrigued. "Giants, sacred knowledge, sounds like a tall tale." Kale, the youngest of the 3, with a scar running across his cheek, chuckled softly. "We know it sounds strange, but the desert holds truths beyond what most see. We were caught in this storm because we strayed too close to a forbidden place, a canyon where the veil between worlds is thin." Node, the quietist, nodded. "We seek to restore balance. The storm is no accident. It is a warning." Eleanor leaned back in her chair, her curiosity piqued. She had lived in the desert long enough to know it was a place of mystery, as strange lights in the sky, whispers in the wind, rocks that seemed to hum with life. "What kind of balance?" she asked. Taza's eyes met hers, and for a moment, she felt as if he could see into her soul. "There is a relic," he said, "hidden deep in the canyon, a stone carved by the ancients, imbued with a power to speak to the spirits. It has been disturbed, and the desert is restless. If we do not return it to its rightful place, the imbalance will grow. Storms, quakes, Worse, Eleanor didn't know whether to believe them, but their conviction was undeniable. She had heard stories of sacred Apache sites, places revered and protected. "Why come here?" she asked. "Why my cabin?" Taza smiled faintly. "The spirits guided us. Your home sits on a ley line, a path of energy that connects sacred places. We felt it as we approached. You, Eleanor, are no ordinary woman. The desert chose you to live here." Her heart skipped a beat. She had always felt a pull to this place, an inexplicable connection to the land. But she shook her head, dismissing the thought. "I'm just an old woman who likes her peace." "What do you need from me?" "We need rest," Taza said, "and perhaps, if you are willing, your help. The canyon is treacherous, and we are not as young as we once were. A guide who knows this land would be a blessing." Eleanor laughed, a dry, humorless sound. "You're asking me to traipse into a canyon in a storm to find some magic rock? You're out of your minds." But as the night wore on, the brothers shared stories of their people, of warriors who walked with giants, of spirits that guarded the desert, of a time when the land and sky were one. Their words stirred something in Eleanor, a longing she hadn't felt in years. She had spent so long alone, shutting out the world. What if this was a chance to be part of something greater? By morning, the storm had calmed, leaving the desert sparkling under a fresh layer of rain. Eleanor made a decision that surprised even herself. "I'll take you to the canyon," she said. "But if this is nonsense, you're out of my house by noon." The brothers nodded, their faces solemn but grateful. They set out at dawn, Eleanor leading the way with her rifle slung over her shoulder. The canyon was a half-day's hike, a jagged scar in the earth where the walls rose like ancient sentinels. As they walked, Eleanor noticed the brothers' terrain despite their age. They moved with purpose, their eyes scanning the horizon as if reading signs in the wind. When they reached the canyon's edge, the air grew heavy, charged with an energy Eleanor couldn't explain. The brothers pointed to a narrow path descending into the depths. "The relic lies there," Taza said, "guarded by trials only the worthy can pass." "Trials?" Eleanor asked, her skepticism returning. Nodin placed a hand on her shoulder. "The desert tests those who seek its secrets, but you are stronger than you know." The descent was perilous, the path slick with rain and crumbling stone. Eleanor's heart pounded, but she pressed on, driven by a mix of curiosity and defiance. At the canyon's base, they found a cave hidden behind a curtain of vines. Inside, the air was cool, and the walls glowed faintly with symbols Eleanor didn't recognize as spirals, stars, figures that seemed to dance in the dim light. Taza knelt before a stone pedestal, where a smooth, obsidian-like object rested. It was the size of a fist, etched with intricate patterns that pulsed faintly, as if alive. "The spirit stone," he whispered. "It must be returned to the sacred spring." But as he reached for it, the ground trembled, and a low growl echoed through the cave. From the shadows emerged three figures, not human, but humanoid, their forms shimmering like heat waves. Their eyes glowed red, and their voices hissed in unison. "The stone is ours." Eleanor raised her rifle, but Kale grabbed her arm. "Bullets won't harm them. They are shadow spirits, bound to the stone's power." Taza stepped forward, his voice steady. "We are the old giants, keepers of the balance. Release the stone, or face the wrath of the desert." The spirits laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "You are weak, old ones. The stone's power belongs to us now." What happened next was chaos. The spirits lunged, their forms shifting and twisting. Taza, Kale, and Nodin fought with surprising agility, wielding staffs that glowed with the same symbols as the cave walls. Eleanor, though untrained, found herself caught in the fray, dodging shadowy claws and striking with the butt of her rifle. Her heart raced, but she felt alive, as if the desert itself was fueling her courage. In the chaos, she noticed the stone glowing brighter, its pulses syncing with her heartbeat. Acting on instinct, she grabbed it, ignoring Taza's shout of warning. The moment her fingers touched it, a surge of energy coursed through her. Visions flooded her mind. Ancient Apache warriors, starlit skies, a desert alive with spirits. She saw herself, standing at the heart of it all, chosen not by chance but by fate. "Eleanor!" Taza shouted. "The spring!" She snapped back to reality, the spirits closing in. Clutching the stone, She ran toward a faint trickle of water at the cave's rear, a sacred spring, glowing faintly. The spirits shrieked, their forms weakening as she neared the water. With the final burst of strength, she plunged the stone into the spring. The cave erupted in light. The spirits dissolved with a final, anguished wail, and the ground stilled. When the light faded, the stone was gone, absorbed into the spring, which now flowed clear and strong. Eleanor collapsed, exhausted but unharmed. The brothers approached, their faces odd. "You are no ordinary woman," Taza said. "The spirits chose you to restore the balance." Back at the cabin, the brothers prepared to leave. They offered no grand rewards, only their gratitude and a small, beaded talisman. "It will protect you," Noden said. "The desert knows your name now." As they vanished into the horizon, Eleanor felt different and stronger, connected to something vast and eternal. She was no longer just a woman alone in the desert. She was a guardian, chosen by the land itself.